Stories here at Fort Lewis College. I'm Sarah Flower.
I'm Dahlia Coates.
Today we're talking about, well, this month we're highlighting a lot of different things as we're coming to a close. I know Fort Lewis's calendar is a little bit different than maybe the rest of the communities, but beginning of May really symbolizes the end of a semester here and the beginning of summer and a lot of change on the horizon. Dahlia is a senior who will be graduating with us, class of 2026. So lots of transitions happening here at Fort Lewis College. Closing up what was a really exciting spring break, and we'll hear about that more in the President's Corner coming up with President Shonto. But it's really like we're closing things out here this semester for Fort Lewis College, whether that's packing up dorm rooms, thinking about what's next, life choices after graduation. Dahlia, how are you holding up?
I'm holding in there. I think I've got it pretty good compared to some other people. A lot of people got some presentations due.
Yep.
Assignments are piling up.
Yeah.
Exams are coming in fat.
I know. They sure are.
Yeah.
I mean, there is definitely a buzz around campus. Right now, it's very heightened and timely. And I think like where everybody's talking about, oh, I can't wait till this. I just think there is a moment to like just be present in the stack of stuff that you have going on.
It's beautiful outside.
That is true.
Take advantage. Go outside. It's beautiful right now. Sit in the sun for 10 minutes. With sunscreen on if you're going to be out longer than that, please. And maybe go for a walk.
USP, what is that? What do you do? Sunproof? SPF, what are you at? 30?
Ooh.
I see you as a 50.
I was just about to say I'm doing 50. I'm rolling in 50.
Are you zinc? Are you mineral? You do know this?
Yes, the coral reef safe. I'm coral reef. I'm kabuki creamed up at times.
I do. That's all very important, especially if we're so much higher. So the sunscreen is definitely important. And you know, more than anything, Dahlia, I do think if we could pause a little bit and just recognize mental health. It is like a hustle and bustle, and the news around the world can be difficult to pay attention to and ever changing, and it's hard to feel like you're on top of it. And a student like at the college and the university that's studying and doing the research, and it can be exhausting and really overwhelming in this time.
You can be deep in it, and it's hard to like kind of take a second and like be with yourself and notice like, where are you? Like, have you eaten today? Yeah. Have you had water today?
Touch grass. Is that what the kids say?
Touch grass. It's an important time to touch grass.
It is a very important, and not the crispy brown grass. No. And that's like paying attention to so much. I think it's really hard, and I think it's okay to check out every now and then too. So I do want to take like a mental health moment to take it all in.
Hold space.
To hold space for all of it. I mean, really, what are some tips and things that you're seeing in your world, in your bubble?
Well, I would say one thing that I really took advantage of here at Fort Lewis was the free counseling center sessions. Like, even if you don't need therapy, it's still good sometimes to just check in with yourself and like, a therapist. Definitely go into an event. We're always saying go to an event, but maybe go to something that's a chill event, a movie night somewhere with some mac and cheese, or they had a mac and cheese movie night last semester. I was really, drawn to that.
Well-Packed does such a great job too of De-Stress Fest and really checking in with like other spaces, whether that's puppies you need to snuggle with or some extra food around the way.
The therapy dogs will be in the Reed Library.
Oh, that's nice.
And they're always so cute.
It just is like, there's just a moment to be able to do that. And I feel it around campus, whether you're a faculty, a staff member, or an alum who remembers those moments of the hustle. And I as a student, I put the pro in procrastination. So I always waited until the 11th hour. So this moment, right before commencement and end of semester, it was definitely a buzz.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of events happening, a lot of wrap-up celebrations too.
Yeah.
Go to a celebration, celebrate, be excited. That's okay.
To be in community and with like other people, I get wanting to check out and my social battery can be really low, but to just also be in community, I think is really important. Yeah. But talking about wrapping up, there are like a lot of logistics that come in place. Housing. Yeah. For those that live in the dorms, it's really important to close those loopholes and make sure you're checking in with your RA. And the housing team is so great to like check that back in. And returning students, to make sure you're on top of leases, or if you're returning in the dorms, just to be on top of all that stuff. Those are like the little things that I think can absolutely fall through. Any tips on that?
I would just clean if you're moving out, clean your dorm. It's kind of important, helps everybody out. It can save you money too, because you can get charges if you don't clean your dorm properly.
Ugh, gross.
Get your stuff, pack it up. Don't wait till the last minute. I always found that moving can be so stressful, you know, changing routine, changing space.
Absolutely.
So do it, you know, move, pack things up, little thing by little thing by little thing. Don't wait till the last minute on that one. I think it'll really benefit, you know. And check in with your RA. There should be a sign-up board in the halls, so just sign up for your checkout and
Everybody's here to help you figure out that next transition. I do want to talk about student readiness. That's kind of the adulting part of it. But coming up on President's Corner with President Heather Shonto, we'll be talking a lot about that and this incredible project that took place. It's really like a year round, but the bulk of it happens Village Aid Project. We'll be hearing more about that with Laurie Williams, Dr. Laurie Williams, and President Heather Shonto here in a moment. And it's really about, this is what I love about being a smaller liberal arts college, is the opportunities that you have at hand. Are you familiar with Village Aid Project, or can you think of a different opportunity where student readiness has pushed you forward? Maybe Images, or a different opportunity?
Images magazine, that really kind of pushed me into like realizing what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
and maybe
totally.
Like what type of leader I was, you know, where I wanted to take my career, and really made me realize like I want to be kind of centered around humans and creativity and stuff like that. I also feel like, you know, good orgs too are like the G, you know, Saga, all these RSOs that prepare people for like leadership. I mean, El Centro, all these places on campus want students not only to be ready when they're on campus, but to have the tools when they get off campus.
There's so many opportunities that are not just, they're beyond the classroom. They're in communities, it's in relationships, and it's giving you real world experience. So we're going to throw it over to President Heather Shonto, who got some time with Dr. Laurie Williams to talk about the Village Aid Project and how heavy those shovels are digging some dirt out in the Navajo Nation.
Welcome back to President's Corner here on Braided Stories. I'm Heather Shonto, your president here at Fort Lewis College. Today I have with me one of our, I would say one of campus's favorite faculty. Don't tell the other faculty. Okay. But today we have Dr. Laurie Williams, faculty in engineering with us today, and we're going to talk about academic excellence. Thanks for being with me today, Laurie.
Thanks for asking me.
You have been at Fort Lewis for many years, and I don't joke when I say that you really are beloved with students and really have made an impact in engineering and across campus and in this community. Can you tell me a little bit about what drew you to Fort Lewis in the first place?
Sure, and thanks for that. I love being beloved. But I think what attracted me to Fort Lewis was, like a lot of engineers, I got my undergraduate degree at an R1, and it was nothing. It was a fine education, but there was nothing great about it. In my 4+ years, I don't think I ever felt known or seen, and this is at a time when I was one of 5 women in the entire College of Engineering, so that was just unimpactful for me. And when I actually ended back there years later for my PhD, and I was finishing, and I was applying at Fort Lewis, and I reached out to some of them for a reference. They were like, "Why would you go somewhere like Fort Lewis? You could be teaching here." And I said, "I don't want to teach here. I want to be somewhere where I actually feel like I can make a difference and that I can have a relationship and know my students." And so that really was what drew me here. And I haven't been sorry.
I think that what you say resonates so much with so many of us, that we came to Fort Lewis because we knew we could have an impact and see that impact. And for me, I think it's something that really is distinctive about Fort Lewis College. What would you say for you is what feels distinctive about teaching here at Fort Lewis and maybe even mentoring here?
Yeah, I would probably start with the small class sizes, and that ability to really build real and authentic relationships with the students, and not just the standout students, but all of the students in the class. We all make a real effort to know them academically, but also personally. And I think that develops in them a sense that they're cared for, and that their success is not just important to them, but to me as well. And that's, I think, the big difference and the driver of how this does change their life and gives them agency in their education. I'm not known for, I am known as Dr. No Mercy, but it's a loving no mercy. I really do believe in academic rigor, and students figure out, there's just a word on the street, they know who even before they've even met you, you have a reputation, and so they know the bar is high, but they know that I'm also very supportive. I think failure, we have that saying, failure is not an option. It is an option, and I think we should expect to fail, but we're setting up that environment where they can fail safely and learn from it, and then just be ready to take on greater challenges. So I love what we get to do every day in the class, and it's always different, and I think that's what keeps all of us kind of engaged and excited and fresh.
Yeah. One, I did not know you had the nickname Dr. No Mercy, and I love that. But I think
it's kind of a joke, but it's there.
But
it's on the street.
I wish I had a cool nickname like that.
I'll get you one.
Okay, thank you. Though I think in listening to you talk about our students, it's something that I always recognize is that our students rise to the occasion, no matter what it is, and we set the bar high. When I talk to alumni and they talk about their experience here at Fort Lewis College, they talk about the excellent educational experience that they got, the relationship they had with their faculty, the mentorship, and the way that prepared them in so much more than their colleagues coming into jobs or going into graduate school, that they were prepared in a way that others aren't. And I think it's something that, one, I'm very proud of that we do here at Fort Lewis College. It's also a part of, we see it throughout our strategic plan. We talk about academic excellence, about being student ready, that we are ready to meet our students where they are, but doing that through an excellent academic experience and making sure that our students are not just ready to graduate, but they're ready to lead, and that they will be leaders and head and shoulders above everyone else whenever they leave Fort Lewis College. From your perspective, what does that academic excellence look like in the classroom? You kind of talked about the rigor, but how do you see that across campus in your classroom and your colleagues' classrooms?
I think it's instilling in our students that they can make a difference. They go from being directed to being self-directed. And I think that that way of empowering them leads to confidence, leads to decision-making, leads to critical thinking, leads to persistence. So I think that is what our students come out of here with in tenfold, compared to, an institution where it is more about the grade and the points on the assignment. I think we're able to connect them with, or they're able to connect the dots of why the information matters and how they move it forward. And that's just different. It's not just the degree. Right. It's really the whole package. And the opportunities our students get outside of the classroom, just builds that resilience and that empowerment that I just think makes our students, I've heard them called scrappy, and they definitely are. students that leave here and go into graduate schools, I mean, they're going into research groups ready to be a meaningful contributor because they've done it here. They're working in fields that are not usually available at an undergraduate institution, especially because we don't have graduate students in our program. It's the undergraduates that are doing, the day-to-day research with faculty, working in labs, working with tools and techniques that, you would only get in a graduate education. So they're just so well prepared and they come out with just such belief in themselves that I just think they're ready.
Yeah, I agree. I think one of the great examples that we see is not just in you mentioned the out of classroom experience, so internships, the experience they're getting with research. We talk a lot in the strategic plan about experiential learning. Recently, I got to join you all in Shonto on the Navajo Nation for Village Aid Solar Project over spring break. And we've talked a lot, you and I both have talked a lot about Village Aid Project and Village Aid Project Solar and really the meaningful impact that has, not just on our students, but on communities. And particularly the way that it connects to so much of our work here at Fort Lewis College. And I think everything that you're describing with our students, I think that's a great example. Can you talk a little bit about how Village Aid Solar extends that learning beyond the classroom and how that exemplifies the excellent experience that our students get and what our students actually do with their education here?
Yeah. First of all, it was great having you out there. You are an excellent trench digger, so thank you very much. But I think what these experiences do is it really allows the students to take what they've learned and the skills they've developed and put them into a real world situation. And as you know, problems aren't easy. And there is no neat solution to the challenges that we're putting in front of these students. And it's that ambiguity that I think is what is so powerful about the out-of-classroom experiences. I could not create this type of experience in a classroom. There's nothing contrived about it. It's messy, it's hard, it can be frustrating. Students are making decisions and they're seeing the real and direct impact of them immediately. And that's meaningful. I mean, they understand the consequences in a way that they're not going to understand a consequence of a problem that has an answer in the back of the book. And so I think I love we spend a lot of time, going over design and practicing and workshopping. And then when you get in the field, nothing goes like we planned. And it's not intentional, but that's real world. There is nothing black and white about this. And I think if you can adapt, that they learn to adapt, they learn persistence, they learn confidence and empathy. Because we're working with communities or families that, are maybe existing in a subsistence, way. And they just, that civic development, and the idea that they are so empowered to make a life change for a family or a community is just, it's remarkable. They come away, it's transformative. I know that's an overused word, but there's nothing transactional about what's happening out there. This is just true. They're all volunteers. I don't know if everybody always knows that. A lot of times they think the students are getting some type of course credit, but they're not. I mean, this is their spring break or their summer vacation, and they're choosing to come out and give back and to make just a life-changing, impact on families and communities. And they come away as, I think, gifted by it as the families or communities are by the project and the help that they got. And for some of our Indigenous students to be back in their communities and seeing elders and their joy. I've heard a student and a community say, this is our answer to our prayers, to see you come back and help in this way. So just to be a part of it, as you know, is pretty awesome.
I agree. I think that not just for the students, but I think everyone who has the opportunity, it is truly transformative, and to witness the life-changing experience that our students are having alongside our faculty, and it's because of faculty like you who continue to invest in our students. So I want to thank you, Laurie, or Dr. No Mercy, for joining me today and talking a little bit about your experience here at Fort Lewis and the way that you are impacting our students and making a true difference, not just here on our campus, but throughout this region, and sharing a little bit about what that means and how we're embracing academic excellence here in a way that fits with our values and truly exemplifies who we are at Fort Lewis. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all for joining us on President's Corner, and I'm going to shoot it back over to you, Sarah and Dahlia.
Thanks so much, Dr. Shonto. I think that's such an important, what the Village Aid Project really does, that reflection of really giving back to communities, and they really travel all over the world to be able to provide opportunities. And the Village Aid Project is another one of our 70 registered student organizations that we have here on campus that are really just crushing it and doing incredible work that is really life-changing and meaningful to so many places and spaces.
And I feel like everything you do with an RSO is like, it's an extracurricular and you're learning something, but it is an experience. It's hanging out with your friends. It's getting to know other people, engage with your community. Yeah. And that's something an RSO provides in a structured way. That's super awesome.
Well, and that's like resume building opportunity for me. When I was a student here, and my RSO was KDUR. Yeah. And so I really had real life experience, resume building opportunity that are beyond the classroom, that I can say, oh, I'm proficient in editing Adobe Audition. I know how to do and produce a real life radio show.
And let's hold space for Adobe Audition. Like having that skill. I recently sat in on a recording session, and that program is fascinating. It's like gobbledygook to my eyes.
But like anything, once you get more practice in it, and it takes really quick. Yeah, and there's a million ways to do one thing. Mm-hmm. So be patient with yourself. A good life lesson all around. But we're getting to a close here of another edition of Braided Stories here at Fort Lewis College. Dahlia and I have really come up with these Respectfully No's, which has really been a buzz. So if you're somebody who has a Respectfully No to submit, follow us on our socials. Let us know what's happening. We are on Apple and Spotify, YouTube, all the different spaces. So this is kind of a space where it's, respectfully no to different things. Dahlia and I really enjoy doing this. So if you have an idea, hit us up, let us know.
So I'm respectfully knowing getting in the Zia's line and being on your phone. Please lock in when you get in the Zia's line. It's an important machine. We're all trying to get our bowls and burritos, our yummy, our yummy food. Also, respectfully, yes to the queso that they added on Friday.
Did they really?
They got queso on Fridays. I saw Dr. Shonto there. And
wait, only on Friday?
Only on Fridays. Queso Fridays.
Oh, check. Noted.
So put that phone down and just engage with the Zia's worker. They're there to chat, get you your burrito, and get you fed.
So respectfully no to being on the phone, respectfully yes to their queso.
Yes.
Okay, noted. My respectfully no is very niche to those Durango commuters. My respectfully no is the construction on 32nd Street. As a commuter in that vicinity, Whoo! It's deep breaths in the mornings. It's really like practicing patience when you come into work. And I do appreciate the construction crews that are doing their best, but sweet fancy.
It's rough down there on 32nd sometimes.
It's rough down there on 32nd. All right, what's your next one?
My next, respectfully no, has to be to asking a person graduating, what's next? I think that's a really kind question, and it's a really good question, and obviously the expected question. But sometimes I do not have an answer that day. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's a busy day, and what's next is just going home and chilling out,
taking a nap.
Yeah.
What's next is
hibernation.
Absolutely. Now, as the voice of the class of 2026, Dahlia. Are you hearing that a lot, of what's next? Do people have a plan, do you see? Or is it more like, I'm just going to go into the summer, I'm going to take the moment and figure it out?
I'm kind of hearing it both ways.
Okay.
It's like, I'm moving here to do this.
Yep.
I'm going to work this internship and then move past that. I'm pretty lucky where I have a gig where I'm serving with AmeriCorps down at Marie's Literary Foundation.
Shout out
Marie's Literary Foundation. They're
awesome.
dope. And AmeriCorps, Team Up AmeriCorps, super cool. But it's also okay to take the summer off, to take a month off, to just go and experience life without college, because that transition period can be and will be a little weird.
People take that gap year in the beginning before college sometimes. Maybe it's that gap year at the end of hey, I just need a minute.
Yes. Respectfully, yes, to taking a gap week,
some
month,
time
year.
for yourself. Mine is a pet peeve is being late. Respectfully no to being late to things. I don't know why it's such a lack of respect on everybody's time. And maybe that's something, as we talk about student readiness at Fort Lewis College, it is so important to be on time to things, or at least a heads up, running 5 minutes late. A quick text of on my way, got caught up. I just think it's okay to be late if you've got a nudge. And you have a 15-minute rule.
Yeah, so I'm running a 15-minute threshold. If you are 15 minutes or later, just don't show up. You know what I mean? Unless it's accident, car issue. Or if you've Outlook, message me on the phone, or send me an Outlook message. I'll send her emoji reply.
Oh, you will?
You know what I mean?
Didn't we talk about emoji replies?
We talked about that last week. Respectfully, no to being late, for sure.
I love that. And respectfully, yes, to all of you listeners and viewers who have been taking in this podcast this last semester. Let us know what you think. Submit your respectfully no. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on it. And best luck, congratulations to the graduating class of 2026, putting together another close at Fort Lewis College. Thanks so much for tuning in to Braided Stories at Fort Lewis College. I'm Sarah Flower.
I'm Dahlia Coates.